Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Houghton, and I'm Head of Learning for Schools and Communities at Place2Be. And all of us at Place2Be are so grateful for the Lord Mayor's appeal support this past year and for the 3 years before. It's really had a transformative impact on the way that we work in London. I try and stay away from being too alarmist, but the statistics about children's mental health continue to cause concern. The most recent NHS figures are that 1 in 6 children are suffering from a diagnosable mental health condition, and that's up from 1 in 9 only 4 years ago. And depending on the age and support system available to the child, they may or may not have had a diagnosis. And even if they have, they might be waiting for support and on a waiting list. And when that happens, it falls on schools very often to support the needs of the children in their care. And this is where Place2Be can support. Over the course of our partnership, the Lord Mayor's Appeal has supported many of our programmes in London. Mental health training for school leaders, which is where I first came across the support. Support sessions for classroom staff and for school leaders to help them reflect on the impact of their work on their own mental health. And we have a collaboration with our friends at Onside Youth that you've already heard about. And the recruitment of counsellors to work in schools where we have a Place2Be service. Across the life, I think you heard that in the last year there have been about 250 counsellors, but across the life of the funding, there have been 1,200 counsellors in London schools, all delivering one-to-one support for children and young people. And this support has transformed the lives of so many children, giving them a chance to be heard and voice their problems, helping to build their resilience and handle whatever issue they might be facing. And one of those London children is Rafi, and we've changed his name. Rafi's dad died of cancer when he was 5 years old. And at age 7, he was still overwhelmed by grief. He carried a photograph of his dad around with him, and he wanted to keep it on his desk in class. And there were times when he would be inconsolable, in floods of tears in the classroom, and talking about how much he missed his dad. As we know, emotions, both positive and negative, are contagious. And Rafi's sadness was so overwhelming that it began to affect the other children, and his teachers didn't know what to do to support him. And his mum became concerned that it might impact his learning, and it might get in the way of his ability to make friendships. At that point, Rafi was referred for weekly sessions with a Place2Be counsellor. And during the sessions, he explored themes of life and death through creativity and play, which is our therapeutic model, or forms the heart of it anyway. And he used that space to wonder about where people go when they die. And one of the things we do is we work with children with sand trays, and they create scenes, or they play with it however they want. And he created 2 lands, and he had animals in both lands, but the animals couldn't move from one land to the other. So over the weeks, his counsellor was able to hold his pain and help him understand his feelings, giving him more time to process his grief. And he began to be able to recognize and name his feelings of anger and disappointment. And he also started to notice others and their emotions. When Rafi ended his work at Place2Be, he had hope for the future and enough resilience to separate from his counsellor, who he called his special friend, without experiencing it as another catastrophic loss in his life. So that's one of the things that we support the children to manage. And all the stories tonight, there's a thread of mental health that runs throughout. And what we're so grateful for this funding is being able to complete this work in early intervention so that children and young people can learn skills early in life to support them as they get older. So with heartfelt thanks from everyone at Place2Be, the school communities that we work with, and the children and young people like Rafi. Thank you.